right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Boost Biz Ed San Diego. We are here at the beautiful spaces in La Jolla, UTC, and I want to welcome everybody. We have a really wonderful presentation this morning. My name is sadordel. I'm the founder of the Conscious Business Chamber of Commerce, and I want to give a shout out to all of the people watching on Facebook Live. Boost Biz Ed is an incredible event. Obviously, this is our San Diego location, but Boost Biz Ed is also in 3 different locations in the Denver area, and also 2 different locations in Oregon. And hopefully, Boost Biz Ed will be coming to you soon. So let's get started today. For all of you that are even watching on live stream, you can go to boostbized.com/I am here. Was everybody able to do that? Yes. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to begin. I want to just give shout outs to our allies. Allies are the ones that make this event really run. This is our ally, the venue Spaces. Again, thank you to Spaces in La Jolla, UTC. A special shout out to CJ Sinisdali, who runs Spaces here, and also the ladies over there who always help us out. Thank you so much, ladies. We have a couple more allies that I want to thank today. Tracy Hossie, who was our coordinator this morning. Corneliusspeaks, who is popping in as our media ally. Thank you so much. And of course, we have our speaker ally, who I will be introducing soon, and I just want to thank you in advance. So what is Boost Biz Ed? The whole point of Boost Biz Ed is that we want to build relationships and trust in order to do business first. I mean, who would rather chase a bunch of cold leads and work people that don't know you yet? So this is how we actually do business. We build trust, and it makes things much easier, I would say, when we get to know each other first before trying to sell our services. We all have something to sell here. And the beauty of Boost Biz Ed is that all of our allies get to present their offers, and this way you get to know them first. So there we go. Let me go on to my next sheet here. And I also want to say that Boost Biz Ed is all about actionable education. I know many of us, well, actually, I'll just ask you, have any of you gone to an event where it's just a veiled sales pitch? And it's like you don't really learn anything, and at the end, they just want you to buy something? Am I the only one in the room?
Yeah.
Happens all the time, right? So at Boost Biz Ed, we know that there are offers, but we're really here to learn from our speaker and to grab something that we can do right now in order to help our business. We are very action-oriented, and we know that one small action at a time can help one small business at a time. So that's what we're here to do. All right. So let's do some guest intros here and find out who is ready for action. So I'm going to prepare you. Attention, everybody. You're going to be introducing yourselves, and you only have 20 seconds. And that means, come up here, take a breath, inhale, and then introduce yourself, and you don't inhale again. Just one breath out, and if you start to inhale again, that's not good, okay? That's your 20 seconds. And we want you to talk about basically who you are, the value that you bring, and why you are investing your time with us today. Is this clear?
That's a lot.
Yeah, 20 seconds.
In 20 seconds.
Well,
We can
who
do
you
it.
are, the value of what you bring. What was the third thing?
Why you invested your time to come here today. If you can get to the third, that's great. But let's just focus on your name. All right, Tracy, you start.
Oh. Good morning, everybody, and I'm so grateful to be here at Boost Biz Ed and hear Steve Olsher today. So I'm Tracy Hassey. I'm a networking super connector with a specialty in LinkedIn. I'm here to network and connect and refer people for business so we can create win-win-win partnerships. What else am I supposed to do? Oh, my action for all of you today, I have a competitive edge advantage tool that I use in all the business I do. So if everybody sends a text to 72,000-72000, with the word access, ACCESS. That will give you all a gift for all those listening. It's going to give you a gift with a custom report all about you that I will review with you. So fabulous, great connecting with all of you, and thank you. I went over 20 seconds.
Take a great moment. Grant, you're on deck.
Where am I looking?
Just look at me. Looks great.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi,
Be natural.
Hi, y'all. Y'all. David Winkleman here. I live in San Diego. I'm here because Sarah Ann Jordell is an amazing, wonderful person. I want to support her, and there's always value in everything she brings into the world. So thank you, and I get to see friends and make new friends. I am a visual facilitator, largely making the invisible visible, taking concepts and words and displaying them across the board and creating fabulous facilitative experiences, company meetings, workshops. I help people embrace change, move through what's difficult, and achieve their desired ends. An actionable result would be, let me give you a sample of what I do in 5 minutes and you'll be blown away. Ha!
That was a long breath. Right, Grant.
I am Grant Ward. I'm funny accent. I am from New Zealand. So I think that's probably one of my values that I'm bring today. I'm different to everybody that's here. I'm a leadership coach. I also work with startups. What I'm trying to bring in terms of value to those people is through my experience of both work that I've done in the past and also my own personal journey, which a couple of years ago I had brain aneurysm. So I am trying to bring a sort of spiritual element to a commercial business and look at people and who people are and where they're going. So I guess it's around that purpose. That's me.
Good
morning, everyone. Corneliusspeaks here. Sarah introduced me earlier. I'm here as Media Ally. I just love being a part of what Sarah's doing. So I continue to show my support and be here. Business-wise, I'm a professional development speaker and trainer. Love being on the stage. Love helping people, especially corporate professionals, really tap into their potential and maximize that potential so they can really reach the level they want to reach in their life and business. So, Corneliusspeaks, analytics, consulting, coaching. Glad to be here today. So before you proceed,
What's your name?
Cornelius.
David Dibble? Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Dibble. I have been doing a thing called Conscious Systems for about 25 years. It's a combination of systems optimization in companies along with expanding people's thinking. And together, we are returning investment somewhere between 100 and 1,000%. We actually guarantee 100%. Most people average around 300. So it's a way to take your business from where it is to where you want to go. Anything else? That's it.
All right. Serena? Yes.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Serena Karim, and I'm a business optimizer and an energy detective. So what I do is I go into your business, I look at the nooks and crannies of your business and find the hidden and secret places where you're not in alignment with your financial goals. So I can help you. I look at 5 areas of your business: marketing, sales, contributors, systems, and products and services, and find exactly where you need to tweak your business so you're in alignment with your financial goals and your purpose. And I have over 25 years experience, international experience doing this kind of work, so I'd love to talk to anyone about my work. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Karen Solomon, and as Bill Lublin made me do, I am the author of Sexy Sassy Starting Over. She always said, hold it up to your face. Starting over was the hardest thing I ever did. There were some things that sounded harder. Starting over in my late 50s, having already done my retirement for 15 years, was difficult. And I used 31 years as an image consultant where I dress people the whole makeover thing. I make over lives, and I make over lives where people don't think it's possible after divorce or after breast cancer or after kids leave home. I get the people back in touch with their juju, complete the past, and create the new criteria for moving forward. So I'm more on the personal end, but if you don't have the personal end, you have the business end. And probably my number one superpower is teaching people how to communicate with each other in intimate, both business and pleasure.
All right, good morning, folks. My name is June Ha. This is my first time. Happy to be here. It's on Secret Place. We have an all-star caliber expert today, so this is super awesome. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a lifelong conference junkie. So if there's a good speaker in town, I'm gonna hit them up. I'm a co-founder of a business called awesomeguest.com. We believe you're a big deal, so you can sign up for a free account, try it out, all that kind of stuff. I think everything that Steve's going to talk about is going to make a compelling case for why you should at least check it out. And then our site will then probably in turn make a very compelling case for Steve's signature event, which I'm always a big fan of. People doing a world-class thing here in San Diego. So thanks for starting up a new thing as well. So,
yeah. Good morning, everybody. My name is Joanne Chen. I'm a transformation coach. And what I do is I support entrepreneurial women to let go of perfectionism and convention and fears so that they can bring their true work into the world with power and confidence. I'm here today because I'm very much interested in the topic that we're going to be delving into today, because I want to gain more visibility. I want to speak to the media with confidence. And this is a great group of people. I've come here a couple times already, and I've always taken away a lot of good ideas from these meetings, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Good job, everybody. All right, so because time is of essence, we're going to jump right into things here. Welcome, everybody, again, for those of you who are just joining us on Facebook Live. This is Boost Biz Ed in San Diego. We are here for some great networking and to refuel with actionable education to take our businesses higher, one action at a time. I ask all of you to take really good notes and mark what action you can take immediately so we can check in with one another after this event. And we will hear from everybody at the event. And for those of you who are online, please post comments about what you're hearing, any questions that you may have, and the action that you'll be taking as well. So, are we ready to meet our speaker today?
Yes.
Yes! Woo-hoo! So today we are going to hear from Steve Olsher of Bold Enterprises, and he is going to be presenting Profiting from Podcasts. Steve Olsher is a 25-plus year entrepreneur. He's the chairman and the founder of Liquor.com, an online pioneer who launched on CompuServe's electronic mall in 1993, the New York Times best-selling author of What Is Your What? Discover the One Amazing Thing You Were Born to Do. He's the author of the Business Technology Book of the Year, Internet Profits. The world's leading experts reveal how to profit online. He's the host of the #1 rated radio show, podcast Reinvention Radio. Getting tired. He's an international keynote speaker and an in-demand media guest who has appeared on CNN, The Huffington Post, Entrepreneur on Fire, and countless other media outlets. With rousing applause, please help me welcome the wonderful, fabulous Steve Olsher.
Hey.
All right, so just out of curiosity, how many of you guys have seen me speak before? Just want to know how much of this to cut out. All right, so we're going to together, a couple others. All right, very cool. So thank you. Really appreciate you having me here. And my goal for today is really to help you understand how to leverage and monetize the power of podcasts, which in my way of thinking is really kind of a new opportunity, even though the medium has been around for a while. It's kind of hockey sticking right now for a lot of reasons, and I'm going to get into some of that. But what I know after having been a podcaster for the better part of almost 10 years now is that it truly is one of the most underutilized media of any that exists right now in terms of marketing, in terms of visibility, and so on. for generating really good leads at no cost. And if you guys are interested in learning how to generate no-cost leads so that you can stop feeling kind of like the world's best kept secret. I mean, all of you guys have a mission and a message to share, yes? Yes, for sure. And just to get a sense of kind of where you're at right now, could you benefit from more people knowing about you and what you do, yes or no? Of course, yes. Right? So if you want to easily and consistently generate high-quality leads, then that's definitely what we're going to be talking about here today, because how do you want to, let me ask you guys this. Do you guys do any email marketing? How many of you guys have an email list right now? So in the last year, just to kind of put a, just frame this for you, we've been able to generate over 63,000 leads and over $600,000 in revenue, marketing roughly 2 hours a week using what I'm going to teach you here today. So is that of interest? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Sweet, because that's what we're going to cover. But what I want you to really understand here is that when we're talking about podcasting, there's two sides of the microphone, right? There's the host and there's the guest. And ultimately, I believe that the best thing for you to do at this juncture, if you're not in the space, is to sit on the other side of the microphone as a guest. And I'm going to tell you exactly why that makes sense. And of course, it plays perfectly into what we're talking about here in awesomeguests.com. And that's, if you guys aren't a part of that, you should definitely be checking that out. But talk a little bit about my background, just for brevity's sake. I'm going to skip a few things here because I thought we had a little bit more time, but just for brevity's sake, I'm just going to jump straight into it. So what I want you to know is that there are thousands of shows right now that are looking for guests just like you. On the last screen, I showed you a little bit about reinvention radio, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But understand that there is this huge pool of shows that are looking for guests just like you, and I want you to understand why. And podcasting, in my way of thinking, again, is great from both sides of the mic. I mean, I honestly believe that there is no better lead source available than having your own show and driving people to what it is that you do to be able to enroll people in your products, programs, and services when you sit on the side of the mic of having your own show. Because going back to the conversation about email marketing, how many of you guys have an open rate that's better than 20%? Just raise your hand. Yeah. Okay. And how many people are on your list generally?
I'm under 300, so I'm.
And how many on your list?
80.
Right? So once you get to sort of the masses, if you will, with the list, like my list, as I'll show you here, is well over 100,000 people. And when you get to those numbers, you're lucky to get to a double-digit open rate. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Whereas people who listen to podcasts, and I'm going to talk a little bit about push versus pull marketing, but people who listen to podcasts are raising their hand, and they're saying, give that to me. So if you think about a download, not in terms of, this show has 1,000 downloads, it's just not some arbitrary number. Those are, whatever that number is, 1,000 people, using that as an example. Those are people who are saying, give me that. So it's the equivalent, if you do email marketing, it's the equivalent of not only 100% open rate, but it's the equivalent of a 100% click-through rate, right? And there's a big difference. I mean, if you guys, again, you do email marketing, you know that there's a huge difference between open rates and click-through rates. This is basically the holy grail. This is 100 and 100, because the people who are downloading that episode are asking for it. They want it. And so it's a very different medium from that perspective. And so today, when we're talking about podcasting, I want to actually give you what I might call the easy button here, which is let's focus on sitting on the other side of the microphone, which is not having your own show, but actually being a guest on shows. Because as I said, there are literally thousands of shows, tens of thousands of shows, and they are all looking for guests just like you to feature. Now, I'm just going to run through this quickly, but if you're not familiar with why you should give this serious consideration in terms of appearing as a guest on shows, understand that even the smallest of shows typically have thousands of downloads a month. The smallest of shows. And there are many shows that have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and some even millions of downloads every single month. So we're talking about a lot of people who tune in. Number two, when you are a guest on a show, there is no cost to you. If someone is charging you to be a guest on their show, you need to run. Like that is not par for the course. So there's no cost to you. You don't have to worry about Facebook ads and email marketing, all this stuff that you got to master. There's no cost to this. They put you on the show, and as I'm going to talk about here, they do all of the work. Ladies, right? No hair, no makeup. You can do it from the comfort of your home, so there's no travel involved. As long as you've got a microphone, which can literally be your phone, you're good to go. So no travel. Of course, the bond with listeners is deep. Most interviews are going to be anywhere between a half hour and an hour, somewhere like that. So whereas broadcasts like radio or television, if you're lucky, maybe you get a 3-minute segment, maybe a 4-minute segment, something like that. On an interview, you're typically able to go really, really deep because it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, etc. So it's not only a bond, of course, with the icon, the host, if you will, I call them icons of influence, but it's also the bond with the listeners because they really get to know you in a more deep, intimate way. Of course, leads and sales. If you learn what to do while you are a guest on a show, you can engage them into your world. You can generate leads and sales from those appearances. The operative word here that I want you to write down, we'll talk about this in a minute here, is bounce. Because your goal is to bounce those listeners into your ecosystem. Because you don't want to simply be a guest on a show and then leave it at that. You have to be engaging, you have to be enrolling, and you have to get them to bounce from that world as what I might call a passive listener into your world as an active prospect. And if you're able to do that, you'll absolutely be able to generate leads and sales. Of course, there's the authority and credibility factor. And then what I love most about being a guest on shows, and just so we're clear here, yes, I have my own show, but I'm on shows all the time. It's the only marketing tool I use with a little bit of Facebook ads thrown in. Outside of a little bit of Facebook ads, the only marketing that I do at this point is being a guest on other people's shows. It's that powerful, and it generates leads on an ongoing, automated basis, and I'll take you through that in just a moment here. But what I really love about it is that they do all the work. They literally do all the work. You come on, you share your brilliance, they edit it, they create the show notes, they create the blog posts, they upload it to the iTunes and the Stitchers and the so on. They take care of everything. Oh, and by the way, they promote it and they market it. And so when they do that, they're actually marketing you. You don't do anything at all. There's literally no work required. Now, I'm just going to touch on this, not for an extended period of time, but I want you to get a sense of who I am, because a lot of you I haven't met before, so you may not know anything about me. But I want you to understand that by doing this process of appearing on shows and having my own show, I've been able to do some things that I never really thought were possible because, well, I'm just, I consider myself just to be kind of an average Joe, which means if I can do it and my clients can do it, then I promise you that you can do it too. And so let me just give you a sense of what's happened as a result of being able to create the credibility and the authority and the visibility that I've been able to generate for myself. Because ultimately, I want you to understand that there's one thing that is really the lifeblood of your business more so than anything else. And it boils down to one word. What do you think is the lifeblood of your business? If your business depended on one thing, on one word, what would that word be? Yes, I think you probably know, Sarah. But I'll let a couple people, then we'll go to that. Yes. Reach is close, very close. What were you going to say?
It's my thing, visibility.
Visibility, exactly. Visibility is ultimately, in my way of thinking, the lifeblood of your business. And because I've been able to be this visible expert, so to speak, I've been able to connect with really amazing people that I really never thought I would have access to. People like, you guys know who that is? Can you see?
Brendan Burchard.
Right, so it's Brendan Burchard. That's actually Brendan speaking on my stage. So I used to do an event called Internet Profits Live. And over the years, we had a number of people at that. Jay Conrad Levinson did one of his last keynotes there, the author of Guerrilla Marketing, and Janet Bray Atwood, and Brendan, and Vishen Lakhani, and Lewis Howes, and Russell Brunson, and just all sorts of great people. So this is actually Brendan speaking on my stage at Internet Profits Live. He came to that event not because I paid him, but because I asked him to. Never paid him a dime to come. So he paid for his own flight, paid for his own hotel. The whole nine came simply because I asked him to be there. I got my TED Talk as a result of the visibility that I'm able to generate for myself. Here's Russell Brunson, creator of ClickFunnels, and internet marketer, Speaking at Internet Profits Live, and you guys know who that is, right? Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah, so it's Gary V, and he and I go actually quite ways back. But you know, in addition to, of course, the visibility that I'm able to generate by appearing on other shows, I do have my own show, which is called Reinvention Radio. And over the years, we've been able to get just amazing people onto that show, and it's a great way to connect with people that you may not necessarily believe you have access to, because it's a much different conversation when you invite someone to join you on a platform that provides visibility for them than just simply saying, hey, I'd love to connect, right? So, you know, we had Simon Sinek on the show. We had a nice little banter around the why versus the what, because my book is called What is Your What, and I'll show you that here in a second. People like Hal Elrod and Ariel Ford, and we actually do it as a live radio show. So we do it as a live radio show, and then we repurpose it as a podcast. So we do that here in San Diego, not terribly far from here. There's a JJ Virgin who joined us in studio. To your right, my left is Mary Goulet, who's my co-host. And then to your left, my right, on this side is Richie Ote, who's also my co-host. We also do this, we kind of do this like a morning Zoom type format. And then, as I said, we repurpose these live episodes as a podcast. And so for those of you, how many of you guys are like schedule challenged? Like you find it difficult to do things on a consistent basis? Doing it as a live radio show has been a godsend for me.
Because it's forever here daily.
I have to be there.
It's every day.
Thursdays from 12 until 2. We just do it 2 hours a week. Thursdays 12 to 2. If I'm not there at 12 o'clock, the show doesn't happen. That's not actually true. My co-host can do it, but you get my point. And so it's content literally created consistently week in and week out because I have to be there. So if you are challenged to create content, actually doing it in this way, I have found to be really, really effective. If you're good with your time, then yeah, obviously it's a different discussion. But as I said, even yesterday, I drove up to Santa Monica to be interviewed on a podcast, this show called Renegade Radio. Big show, and they do it live and the whole nine. So drove to Santa Monica, and then after that, I figured, what the heck, let me drive up to West Hollywood, and there was another show up there called the Food Heals podcast. Actually, Sarah, you might have met Allison there and so on. So drove up and did it there. So I spent all day yesterday driving to Santa Monica and then West Hollywood to do these interviews because, again, this is the only thing that I do really outside of a few Facebook ads to market my expertise and establish my credibility and authority. So, you know, I've been a guest on hundreds of shows, over 500 shows. Shows like Hal Elrod's Achieve Your Goals, and ClickFunnels has a show called Funnel Hacker Radio as a guest on that. Natalie Sisson has a show, and then one of the things that I'm super proud of is that because of the visibility that I was able to generate, I was actually featured on the Founder Magazine podcast, but actually on the cover. Now, this is a hell of an honor because you can't really see it, but that says issue 51. They haven't done that many issues, right? And they have people like Richard Branson, and they have people like Gary Vaynerchuk and Arianna Huffington, and Tony Robbins has been on, and so on and so forth. So for me to get a cover article on Founder, I mean, that was a huge honor. But again, I want you to understand the power of what's possible for you when you're visible, and people don't know, you know, what's going on the back end. They don't know if you're a $100,000 business or a $10 million business, but when they see you everywhere, they make their own assumptions, and that's kind of the way you want it, right? So this is all because of the visibility I've been able to create for myself. And this is a screenshot that I took recently of the number of contacts on my personal email list. I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of the other companies that I've started, but this is my personal email list. And more importantly, this is what it translates into sales. So in the last 12 months, that's roughly what we have done as a result of being able to generate these prospects, these leads. My rule of thumb is about $6 per subscriber per year is about average. Some people will do less, some people will do more. So if you have 10,000 people on your database, getting to about $60,000 or so in annual revenue is going to be just about right for email marketing. So just something to think about, and that's roughly where we are. Now, understand that I've been online for a long time. We launched on CompuServe's electronic mall in 1993. 93, and I see some of you are in my bracket here, so you guys probably remember CompuServe. We launched on CompuServe's electronic mall in 93. This is my 25th year online. And the company that we launched on CompuServe eventually became Liquor.com. And Liquor.com is actually a business that I still am an owner of to this day. I work on a board level with it. They're based out of San Francisco. I'm here in San Diego. But Liquor.com has over 2 million subscribers. We get about 40 million uniques to the site. Work with all the biggest brands in the world. So just to kind of put, I just want you to understand kind of where I'm coming from. I've been online a long time, and I promise you I've tried darn near every marketing method known to man. This is the book, What is Your What? Discover the one amazing thing you were born to do, that I put on the New York Times list. I think it was 2013. Internet Profits is my second book, which is the business technology book of the year in 2013. And then as we discussed, I also do Reinvention Radio, and that is something that I do on a consistent basis. But what's really got me excited about this whole world of podcasting and new media is a new event that I just created, and thank you for referencing the event earlier, which is called the New Media Summit. And basically, I created the New Media Summit out of demand that I had been seeing, where people were always asking me inbound, to get onto the show. And then being in the podcasting space and knowing so many folks who were in the same boat, where people were always hitting them up to be on the show, it occurred to me that there really wasn't an event where people like you could meet these podcasters who have these high visibility platforms, and to be able to come to this event, learn how to leverage and monetize the power of new media, and spend ample time with these podcasters so that you can pitch them on who you are and what you do, and literally get booked on the spot. And so, right? And so we did the last one in September. We had people like Michael O'Neill there from the Solopreneur Hour, over 9 million downloads on that show, and Dana Malstaff on Boss Mom, and Nathan Lotka from The Top. And I mean, Sarah, you were there. Obviously, you can speak to it. Yeah, it was a rocking good time. Thank you for that. And so creating the New Media Summit it's something I'm really proud of, because it's, as you said, it's a new San Diego event, and we're doing it here. We'll probably do it bi-coastal, so we'll do one in the spring in San Diego here, and then we'll do one in the fall on the East Coast. But super excited about that, and really I'm just telling you all this because I want you to understand that I really tried, as I said, darn near every marketing strategy available over the years, from SEO and Facebook and you name it, I've tried it. And being a guest on a podcast is the single most effective marketing strategy I have ever leveraged, bar none. The ROI is exponential because, again, it doesn't cost you anything to be on that show. So for those of you who are not familiar with podcasts and just kind of where the numbers are, is it like this? There's a myth out there that's kind of just like this tiny little niche thing, and not everybody really digs it or listens to them or so on. But understand, there was a report recently released by Edison Research called the Infinite Dial, and they surveyed people 18 and over, and what they found is that actually 21% of those surveyed listen to podcasts on a monthly basis. That's up from 17% just a year ago. Number two, they average about 5 podcasts per week. In terms of those who listen to an average of 5 shows a week. And then lastly, what I love about this is that the people who listen to shows are incredibly loyal. And these are people who will take action. And on average, people who listen to podcasts are 130% more likely to invest in a recommended product, program, or service than the same recommendation by the same person coming via their email list or via their blog or via video, etc. So not only do people who listen to podcasts have money, because 41% of those actually have a household income of over $75,000, with I think it's 15% of those having an average household income over $150,000. They have money to invest, and they do so in droves. Again, 130% more likely to take action on something recommended, a product, program, or service recommended via podcast, than that same recommendation from a blog or from a video or a social media post, etc. So again, it goes back to the intimacy of the relationship. Now, just so we're clear here, I like to keep things interactive, and we're in a compressed period of time. I thought we had more, so I'm going to move through a lot of this because I like to impart a lot of wisdom. or at least what I think is wisdom. But if you have any questions, obviously just raise your hand and we'll keep it interactive, please.
I have a question. So by being a guest on a podcast, I got everything you said. It's imprinting loudly, but I need to build I've got some social networking happening now, and I'm branding and blah blah blah. But I need the email. So does that end up just driving people to your site?
Let me show you how.
Great. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So the answer is absolutely yes. Please, Tracy.
As far as like getting on people's podcast, is there like a place to go when I get through the body?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Yeah, I mean, needless to say, do you think I'm going to invite you to the New Media Summit? Yes, I am going to invite you to the New Media Summit. So that's a great place. But awesome guests, and there's other platforms as well that are perfect for connecting.
So, Steve, what are some, let's call them assets? What do you say, hey, before you start hitting all these podcasters up, make sure you have these things in place so that you can maximize your time. What are some of those? I call them assets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I personally believe you should have at least one very good funnel in place. You don't need more than that, and I'm actually show you the world's simplest funnel. So I believe you should have at least one funnel in place. I have more than one. I have two main funnels because when I talk about what is your what, that's more on the personal development side. And when I talk about podcasting or internet marketing, that's obviously more on the internet marketing side of the equation, right? So I have two distinct funnels in place, but I'm going to show you what I would consider to be the world's simplest funnel. So the question that I get all the time is this the right time to get into this arena? Like, can I wait? Just kind of give me a sense of why we should be pursuing this now. And the simple answer is that we're at a really interesting crossroads where everything is shifting from what is commonly known as push marketing to pull marketing, right? Push marketing being broadcast media, television, radio, newspapers, etc., right? Where a small group of people decide what is going to be put out there for people to consume, and the masses decide whether or not to consume it. You're in your car, turn on the radio, you didn't decide what song is going to be on, it's on. You can decide whether or not to change the channel. Same thing with television, right? You didn't choose to see CSI at 9 o'clock on CBS or whatever. It's on. You can change the channel or you can watch it. Versus pull marketing, which again goes back to the 100% open rate, 100% click-through rate. Pull marketing is where people are saying, give me that. So they are choosing what to consume, when to consume it, and on their preferred device. So podcasting is a perfect example of pull marketing. No one's forcing you to download that episode. You're choosing to download it because you want to hear it. So you're pulling it. So 100% opt-in, 100% click-through. That fork in the road is that this expanse is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as we move forward. And here are a couple reasons why. Wi-Fi, by some estimates, is going to be a standard accessory in 250 million cars rolling off the assembly line over the next 5 years. So what does that mean? Well, basically what it means is that CarPlay is going to be standard on damn near every dashboard. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Some of you have cars right now that already have a Apple CarPlay or Google CarPlay or one of those. So I'll show you exactly what that looks like. But you also have to understand that by some estimates, 35% of the vehicles that will be on the road 5 years from now will be autonomous, which means they will be self-driving. And I'm going to tell you why that's important here in just a second. But this is what the CarPlay dashboard looks like for those who don't know. And so basically, if you look here, what gets me the most excited, obviously, is that little icon. Because podcasting has come a long way, right? It used to be hard and challenging to actually download an episode. I mean, there were steps that were involved. And I'm not going to go into those steps, but let's just say it used to be a lot more complicated. Now, it's a push of a button on a dashboard. That's AM, FM, satellite, bam, podcast, right? You're right there on the playing field has been completely obliterated. That changes the game as far as audio is concerned. And this also changes the game, right? This is the autonomous vehicle. So what you're looking at is he's got a keyboard in his lap. She's got the coffee mug. I mean, ladies, you're going to have to, the remote control of the future is the keyboard, so you're going to have to figure out how to wrestle that away. But, understand that when you're going from point A to point B, and you can do anything you want during that commute, What are you going to be doing? Well, if Wi-Fi is a standard accessory, there's probably going to be a screen in that car, and you're going to be surfing. You're going to be looking for information, for entertainment, for education, etc. And I guarantee you that if you're not available, you're not going to be found, right? But if you are there, I can't guarantee you will be found, but at least there's a chance.
I test drove a car 2 days ago, and it blew my mind because I plugged my phone into the Apple thing and put on my GPS, and it was there.
Yep.
Cars don't need GPS because you've got your. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
With my entire phone.
And even if it's not a screen, when you don't have to drive, I mean, you'll just be right doing whatever you got to do. You don't have to keep your eyes on the road. Let the car drive itself. That's gonna. What I'm trying to point out to you is listenership is in this hockey stick mode, and it's going to explode. And I believe we are right here at right there at the crux of that explosion in terms of the impact of audio. And audio is, of course, the only medium where you can multitask. Right? You can listen to audio while you're doing other things. You can't read a blog. You can't watch a video. So you can multitask. And don't even get me started on AI, right? Because when you start thinking about what's going to happen with voice commands and just being able to tell Alexa to play, Alexa, play me today's best podcast, right? Alexa, tell me whatever, right? The voice commands, Alexa skills are going to be there. There's a whole industry around Alexa skills. You started on that, but understand that this is something you have to be aware of because it becomes easier to find what you want when you can simply ask for it. And that's where things are going. Now, there's also a myth around what it is that you need in order to take advantage of this medium. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what you need to have in place in order to be a guest on shows. One of the things that people talk about is, well, you already have to be famous. And my argument is actually you don't have to be famous, and it's actually better if you're not, right? Because just by a show of hands, how many of you guys know Tim Ferriss or Gary Vaynerchuk or Seth Godin, right? I mean, those sort of people, right? I mean, we know them. Tim Ferriss, right? Let's hack everything. Gary Vaynerchuk, let's hustle, Seth Godin. I mean, it's just like we know who they are, we know what they stand for, but we don't know your story. If we had more time, I would have shared some of the stories of the people that we've had on Reinvention Radio. And we actually take great pride in being one of the first media outlets to break stories about people that the general public doesn't know. So in this case, it actually works to your advantage, in my opinion, to not be famous because there aren't, everyone has not heard your story yet. So there's a lot more room for you to gain that visibility. You don't need a book. You certainly don't need a best-selling book, but you don't need a book at all. So people tell you got to hack. You don't. I promise you, you don't need a book. It helps, of course, but you don't need it in order to get booked on shows. You certainly don't have to be a public speaker or have a TED Talk or anything of that nature. You have it, great. You don't need it. You don't need to have a big email list. You don't need to have a big social media following or any following at all, for that matter, a high-traffic website. You don't need to be a marketing wizard. You don't need to understand fancy technology. All of these things that people will try to tell you you need, I promise you, you don't, to be able to take advantage of everything that this medium has to offer. So, of course, then the next logical question is, okay, if we don't need all of those things, then what do we actually need? And I'm going to keep it really simple here for you, because this is it. Right. Exactly. It's really the 3 M's. You need a mouth, you need a microphone, and you need a message. Show of hands, everybody got a mouth? Yeah, possible. But let me take you through the 6 steps, and of course, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those for you. But it really starts with step number 1, which is having a clear topic of influence. And I'm going to go into exactly what that means. Step number 2 is understanding the shows that you want to be on and identifying those shows and then connecting with the hosts. Step number 3 is getting your pitch down, right? So you got to nail your pitch. You got to get booked on those shows. Once you're booked, you then have to be an engaging guest and enroll listeners into your ecosystem. Again, the operative word there is bounce, bouncing them from one platform into yours. And then lastly, you got to monetize your visibility, right? Because you want to get a good ROI on your investment of time and energy and potentially resources if you have to drive somewhere or get somewhere for that interview. So I'm going to take you through this profit path. And as I said, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those for you. But let's start with number 1, which is really, in my mind, where it all begins. which is having a very clear topic of influence. Now, what do I mean by a topic of influence? What I mean by a topic of influence is the 2 or 3 or 4 word synopsis that describes who you are and what you do. And note that I said 2, 3, or 4 words, right? Something very precise, something succinct. Like for me, it actually boils down to 1 word, which is reinvention. And the moniker that I use is America's Reinvention Expert. Now, if I were starting from scratch, I would probably do something that was a little more intriguing, right? There's nothing too intriguing about the word reinvention. Because ultimately, you want that 2, 3, or 4 word description to pass what my friend Sam Horn calls the eyebrow test. And I love that term because it's all about creating intrigue. It's getting people to, raise their eyebrows and just kind of go, what is that? Now, Serena, right?
Yes.
What did you said 2 things when you came up and introduced yourself?
I'm a business optimizer and an energy detective.
That's the one. So the energy detective is totally passes the eyebrow test. So I get rid of the other parts. I mean, honestly, it doesn't do you any good. It's too much like it's bland. It's vanilla. It doesn't create any intrigue at all. I'm an energy detective. Let's talk, right? Like that in and of itself gets me thinking, what is she? What is that, right? So it creates that degree of intrigue. That's a perfect example of what an effective topic of influence could look like.
But it has to be talking about you, like she's a this, you do this. It's
right.
not,
Yes.
not
Serena
the
is an
name
energy
of
detective. Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't.
It's like your title, but using an intrigue title.
Yeah. It's not your brand or
Right,
something of
that's
that
why
nature.
I'm
Although maybe energy detective is your brand.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
it could be in this case, but basically your topic of influence should be something that comes as naturally to you as breathing, right? And if you look at the graphic here, I mean, it's basically in your DNA. It's something that just you could talk about for days and days and days. It's something that you love almost more than anything else in the world, right? It's just something you so enjoy doing. And as I said, with a lot of interviews being 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, you've got to have deep knowledge and deep love for that subject. So when you are clear on what your topic of influence is, that's truly when the magic can happen for you. When you're unclear on what your topic of influence is, you end up doing things like this, right? Which is like working in retail. And clearly this person's topic of influence should not be retail when they're referring to bananas as long yellow things, right? I mean, so like retail is hopefully not this person's topic of influence. And we should hope that this woman's topic of influence is not travel, right? Because she's wondering why the drinking fountains are so short in Europe as she's drinking from a bidet. So, yeah.
My God,
right? And we can hope that this woman's topic of influence is not fertility or fertility advice or something of that nature, because she thinks that the scariest part about having triplets is having to be pregnant for 27 months, right? So you can see what happens when the topic of influence goes wrong, but the real question then becomes, what is your topic of influence? And this is super important. Why? Because step 2 on the profit path is all about identifying and connecting with the host. So how do you identify the right host? And how do you connect with them? Well, the answer is you take your topic of influence and you type that into the search box of iTunes or Stitcher or one of the podcasting distribution channels, right? So energy, that would be a perfect word to type in to the search box. And you'll see all of the shows that pop up that are talking about energy, right? As an example. So this is what I want you to be thinking about. Those 2 or 3 or 4 words that really encapsulate who you are and what you do. Because if you can do that, you can then take those, pop them in the search box, and you can find the shows that are already talking about your subject. So those are the people you want to talk to, right? Those are the people who absolutely would want to have you on their show, because this is something they're already talking about. And again, for sake of time, we could get into how to really nail your pitch and get booked, but just understand that there's one thing that you really need here, and some of you already have this, but for those of you who don't, and you want to get booked on shows, there's one piece of paper that's really important, which is this, which is a Media One sheet, right? And a Media One sheet basically encapsulates who you are and what you do. Now, I'm going to show you an example of a Media One sheet that we created. And how many of you guys have a Media One sheet right now? Okay, most of you do. And if you don't, I'll show you how we can get you one for free. So my team can actually create a Media One sheet for free for you guys. But there's a couple of different elements here that I just want to point out to you that are super important. Obviously, you're going to have your name. If you have a moniker, you want to include that. You have a picture, description of who you are. But then just so you can make it really easy on the host or the producer or the decision maker to put you on, you want to put down what your most popular topics are, what it is that you can talk about. But this is where a really creative hook comes in so that you can get their attention. Like for me, one of my best hooks that I've used is why college is the single worst investment that a parent can make, right? And so that creates intrigue. And why is that intriguing? Because people say you should go to college. Well, how does that relate to what I do? Well, it relates to what I do because my feeling is that unless your kid is clear on what their what is, and they know exactly what it is that they want to be doing in school, you're just pissing away your money. And so, therefore, it's a really bad investment for you as a parent because all you're doing is moving them from getting the bottle from mama to getting the bottle from the bartender, and that, of course, is a losing proposition. But right down there underneath is what I need you to really think about being able to articulate, which is what is the value add for the audience. So it's not enough to just have a hook. You really do need to be able to articulate the value add for the audience so that they can understand exactly who you are and what you do, but more importantly, what their audience will get out of your being on their show. So a good Media One sheet, in my way of thinking, description, topics, the value add for the audience. Of course, if you have praise or testimonials, include those, and your contact information.
Does it have to be one sheet?
Mine is two-sided, and so I do believe it should be one sheet of paper that you can hand to someone.
So two-sided, okay.
Two-sided is fine, but I actually combine my Media One sheet with my speaking one sheet. So it's a combination media speaking one sheet, and that's covered on both sides of that paper. So I believe it should be one sheet, yeah. But again, just I can't spend a lot of time on this just because of where we're at timing-wise, but just understand that this kind of hinges on being able to have a really good pitch, right? Because if you're going to get booked on shows, you've got to create intrigue, you've got to create their interest. So if you don't get on the show, the rest of the profit path doesn't matter. You can have your topic of influence. Dennis, what's up, brother? You can have your topic of influence. You can understand who the hosts are and obviously identify them, but if you can't pitch them and you can't get booked, then the rest of the path doesn't matter. But assuming you get booked, assuming you're good to go on that, the next question then is, how do you become an engaging guest? And that's something, honestly, I mean, you were just talking about, what's your first name again? David. You were just talking about being on the show and listening to yourself and being like, man, I wish I would have gotten to the point faster and ramble on so much and that sort of thing. So that comes over time. And I'm not going to spend any time on that, but obviously being an engaging guest is key. Enrolling listeners so that you get them into your ecosystem is the only way that you're going to be able to monetize your visibility. So I'm going to jump straight to the money. Is it okay if we talk about the money? You guys? Yeah, sweet. Please, question.
With being an engaging guest, isn't it true that sometimes, I know for internet radio, is that they'll ask you to submit a couple of questions that they can ask you so that you can actually prepare beforehand?
Yeah. If you want an example of that, if you write down steveolsher.com /info, so INFO hyphen the word FOR hyphen interviews. So steveolsher.com info / interviews, so info for interviews. I do exactly that, right? So yeah, you definitely want to give talking points so that if you know you've got some really good stuff on a particular subject, you can then move those folks towards those questions. Not everybody uses them. And it always amazes me, actually. I kind of chuckle when I go on an interview and they start asking me those questions. You know, because it's like, all right, clearly you have no original thought. It's like, I mean, I love you and thanks for having me on, but if you couldn't come up with your own questions and you're going to mine, that's a whole other discussion. But yeah, for sure, that's got to be part of the process. So you
talked about the identifying things with the host.
Yep.
Do you go on anybody who asks you to go, or you like this doesn't fit with who I am or what I do?
Yeah. So Grant is asking the question about if you get invited onto a show, do you just go on to anybody's show, even if it's not potentially a good fit? So what do you do in that case? For me, at this juncture, I'm a lot more selective. And I think out of the gate, you need to take every opportunity you can. As a matter of fact, you want to cut your teeth on the shows that very few people listen to, because that's how you stop rambling. That's how you get to the point fast. That's how you do exactly what you want to do there, right? So in my way of thinking, at this juncture, yeah, you do it all. Every single opportunity that you have, you take it. Later, yeah, maybe you're a little more selective.
Never pay for it, because there's a lot of wannabes.
Never pay for it.
There are a lot of
Never.
wannabes who are saying, just give me $300, you can have a recording. Well,
Yeah.
a podcast is a recording, right?
Yes, but actually, Dennis, who was just here, he's got a great show called The 5 Minute Bark.
5 Minute
And
what?
The 5 Minute Bark, which is a podcast. And so Dennis, you can come onto his show absolutely for free as a guest, but he does have a package that you can buy, which includes a video and an awesome page, and it's just great stuff that is truly of value.
Right, that's different.
And that's as a result of being on the show. So nothing to be on, but if you wanted to get to that upgrade, I mean, Dennis can talk about that in a second here, but yeah, but you get a ton. She was just asking, you should never pay for a show, and I was just saying that, you don't charge, so that you don't charge to be on, but you do have this awesome package that is available if people want it. But let me cruise through this, but then we can talk about that in a second. And he's always looking for great guests, for sure. So let's talk about the money, because I know that's on your minds, and we were talking about the funnels and what it is that you need. And in my way of thinking, you need at least one good funnel before you get onto a show, because being on that show is great for visibility, credibility, authority, but you want to be able to somehow monetize that visibility. So I want to step you through what I would call the world's simplest funnel, which is literally something that you could start on a Saturday and finish by Sunday evening. And I'll show you what a funnel like this looks like. But basically it involves having a free resource, and that could be a PDF, it could be an ebook, it could be an audio file, it could be a video, it could be anything, right? I mean, it could be a CD if you're old school, right, whatever, doesn't matter. But you need something to be able to give to folks that is a free resource. You then need to have, in my way of thinking, a different version of that same resource. I'm going to show you what I mean here in a second. And then lastly, you need to have an upsell. So I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So when I am on a show, a personal development oriented show, and we're talking about what is your what and how to discover that one thing that you really created to do, it's going to lead naturally towards people being interested in picking up the book. I'm talking about the book, I'm talking about the what is your what framework, I'm talking about the power of being able to discover your gift, your vehicle, your people, and so on. And so in my mind, I'm seeding this the whole time, right? It's NLP stuff, right? It's seeding the idea of getting the book. And then when the opportunity arises, which always will at the end of an interview, sometimes in the middle of an interview, almost never at the beginning, where somebody says, if people want more information about you and what you do, where should they go? My natural response is, look, we've been talking a lot about the what is your what framework. And of course, you can definitely go out and pick up a hardcover copy of the book. It's everywhere books are sold, blah, blah, blah. But let me make it even easier for you, because we actually give away the entire book for free. So you don't even have to go out and buy the book. Let me give you the entire book. So if you go to whatisyourwhat.com, you can enter your name and email address, and you can get the entire book for free. Not a chapter, the whole thing. And I'd love for you to do, download it and discover what your what is, make this world a better place, and this, that, and the other. So, bam. So this is whatisyourwhat.com. I mean, there's more to the page, but you get a general understanding of what I'm talking about. So this is the
PDF of your book.
Exactly. So this is the free resource. So world's simplest funnel, top of the funnel, free resource. This is the free resource. I give them the entire book. Now, what do you think happens after they opt in for the book? What happens?
You get an email. You've got their email, and then you can put them in your funnel to do the next thing.
So that happens instantly, which looks like this. So after they opt in, it then goes to this page, which is a different version of the exact same resource. So now, why don't you get a hardcover copy of the book, right? I'd love for you to have the hardcover copy. Matter of fact, I will give you the hardcover copy. All you have to do is pay for shipping and handling. You guys have probably seen this model before. It works really, really well. Now, why does this work? And by the way, we charge $7.99. The question is that a break-even proposition is a loss proposition. We make about $1. It costs us about $3 for the book. It costs us about $4 for media mail, shipping, and handling. So we make about $1, right? So it's not a losing proposition. But I want you to understand that if you're looking at a bar graph, and this is 0 and this is 100, getting someone to spend the first dollar with you is like going from 0 to 98 on the bar graph. It's that big of a difference. Because getting people to invest with you in further products, programs, and services after they have spent the first dollar with you and going from 98 to 100 is like child's play. Getting them from 0 to 98, that's the challenge. And not only that, now that we have had an interaction with them, and now that we've established this know, like, and trust, if you will, and now that they have bought from us, guess what we also have? Now we have their name, their email, their physical address, their phone, and their credit card info. So now when we offer upsells, now it's a one-click on it. This is a one-click proposition. That's a much different game. Now simply click here and bam, get it. So the third step is then a different version still of the same resource. So PDF of the book, hardcover copy of the book, and then we offer them the Reinvention Workshop online course. This all happens instantly, bam, 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 all automated. The Reinvention Workshop is simply me teaching a room full of people how to discover their what. So it's taking them through the same process that I'm teaching in the book, but people consume information in very different ways.
How long is that course, and what's the media?
It's about 10 hours.
So they get it in podcast form, they get it a combination of audio and so it's video, and then a workbook, so any downloads.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And I promise you, if you get started on a Saturday morning, by Sunday night, you could create this 3-step funnel. Now, the question that I always get is, okay, that's all well and good, but does it really work? Does it add up? And I can tell you unequivocally that it adds up. I mean, in ways that you can't even fathom. Let me show you how this adds up. One appearance. On average, I average about 250 leads. Because most of the shows that I'm on now are going to be larger shows. So some get a lot more, some get a lot less. But on average, about 250 leads is what's generated for me every time I appear on a show. Now, that's not people listening, that's not downloads, that's actually people providing their name and email address. So when I say a lead, this is people providing their name and email address. In other words, 250 people will opt in for that free resource. We then bounce to the $7.99 shipping and handling offer for the book. We charge $49 for the course. And it's a one-time offer, right? So it's get it now for $49 or you'll pay, I don't know, $497 or whatever number we have on it later. And here's what happens. About 20% of the people who opt in will buy the book. So that's revenue of about $400. About 25% of those people will buy the $49 course. So in other words, from one appearance, the total income is about $1,000. So whenever I appear on a show, I can count on revenue of about $1,000. Again, some shows will be less, some shows will be more. But this is like clockwork. And if I'm on, let's just say, 2 shows a week, and remember how I said earlier how I've been able to do this marketing just 2 hours a week? Well, if I'm on 2 shows a week, 1 hour on one show, 1 hour on another, it averages about, again, $1,000 an appearance. $1,000 an appearance times 2 is $2,000 times 4 weeks in a month. It's about $8,000 in that month. Over the course of a year, just from appearing on shows, this funnel that I just showed you generates pretty consistently about $100K a year. That one funnel. So can you guys find a couple hours in a week to do shows? Yeah? Yeah, yes. For sure you can. And no matter what it is that you want to do, if you want to, maybe you want to start a mastermind and you want to find members for your mastermind. If you want to sell books, right? You want to sell more copies of your book. If you want to generate leads, if you want to fill live events, enroll coaching clients, sell products, programs, and services, connect with the influencers, or gain massive visibility, be recognized as the go-to expert in your niche, you can leverage the power of appearing on podcasts to do that. It works, and again, it's all a matter of what your current currency is. Like now, I'm in fill event mode, so I'm talking about the New Media Summit everywhere I go. So this is fill event mode. After that event is filled, I'll then switch to whatever my next currency is in that moment. So whatever your currency is, using a Dr. Phil term, right? You can promote it. You can focus on that. And I promise you, I've used appearing on shows to do all of these things at various times. Please.
Yeah, in terms of the right call to action at the end of your appearance, you're going to be mentioning, the upcoming media summit, but
yeah.
Is your goal to get people to opt in into like mailing list or something?
Yeah, so let me show you that.
Okay.
So if I'm talking New Media Summit, I'm typically talking about the power of connecting with influencers and the power of developing those relationships. I mean, you guys are obviously very familiar with that. So let me just kind of step you through this again. The podcasting profit path being these 6 steps. To me, the most important step here, and really where this all hinges, is in probably what I would call somewhere between step 2 and step 3. It all really hinges on being able to connect with those icons of influence, people who can literally make you famous with the click of a mouse. So all of this hinges on having those relationships, right? And the question then is, if I want to develop those relationships and get booked on shows, what's the fastest way to do that? And I can tell you from experience, I mean, yes, you can email them, yes, you can call them, yes, you can do a million different things, but the absolute fastest way that I have found to be able to develop those real relationships is to do exactly what we're doing here. Dennis is, it's my buddy who played golf. He has a scratch golfer, by the way. But, he's got a great show. And you guys should all talk to Dennis and make sure you say hey before you leave here today. But that face-to-face, one-on-one, being able to develop relationships, there's nothing that beats it. Especially because you can email somebody and, the odds of that email being answered, not too good, right? You could call them. I have found actually that one of the best things to do is to meet them in person, go to live events, have ample time with them, and really be able to develop, some meaningful relationships with them. And I believe that is the fastest way to get to where it is that you want to go. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about the New Media Summit, which I mentioned earlier to you. And we are actually doing the next one here in April, so April 12th through the 14th here in San Diego. And I'm not sure if this is going to be loud enough for you to hear, but rather than tell you about it, assuming you can hear it, let me just actually show you a video. Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
Where we are right now is unprecedented. When an average person can get billions of eyeballs and eardrums on what they're doing, that's pretty amazing. 40 of the world's most recognized podcasters, including Jeff Brown of Read to Lead, Paige and Lefka of The Topic, Dan Olsher of Moscow, Michael O'Neill of The Solopreneur Hour, J.D. Crumb of Conscious Millionaire, Doug Sandler of The Nice Guys on Business, and many other leading icons of business shared their proven tools, tactics, shortcuts, and strategies for crushing it with podcasts. Right, you guys want to meet with some icons, don't you?
Leading podcasters and top of the heap, and to have that opportunity to sit with them, eat with them, break bread with them, the people, the community, incredible, generous, loving.
Yeah, well, it's them on who they are and what they do, and see that event with bookings in hand.
I got booked on so many shows at this event. Over 20 shows, 12 bookings, over 25 bookings. On the track.
I agree to helping you transform your business. It's your future.
If you're a coach, author, speaker, or small business owner who wants to learn how to leverage and monetize the power of new media, and you want to gain massive visibility fast by getting booked on the world's top podcasts. This is a must-attend event.
One of the reasons that podcasting is going to continue to grow is it's going to continue to niche.
No, 100% recommend it. If you have any inkling of desire to be in the podcasting realm or building social media realms.
I love the particular crowd that has gathered, both the icons as well as the participants.
He's taken down all the barriers between the attendees and the icons of influence. This is absolutely positively even. Want to be
We want the youth to be able to look back and give thanks to the youth today.
Tickets for the next New Media Summit are on sale now, and we're already more than 50% sold out. To grab your ticket and for more information, visit www.newmediasummit.net now. If you're tired of being the world's best kept secret and are ready to get the visibility you deserve so you can build your authority, sell more products, programs, and services, and become the recognized go-to expert in your niche, join us at the next New Media Summit. Details are available now at www.newmediasummit.net. That's www.newmediasummit.net.
So hopefully you were able to hear that. But I want to quick question.
Was the dancing on stage a workshop process or a celebration?
Right? It's all of the above. I mean, you want to get to know people, you want to develop relationships with people. You dance with them for 3 days, and you're going to get to know people well. But we created the New Media Summit because we wanted to create really the premier event for not only teaching you how to leverage and monetize the power of new media, but really to create the only event where you can meet and pitch the icons of influence who can literally make you famous by featuring you on their high visibility platforms. And so literally for 3 days in April, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be helping you with your business. So it's leveraging and monetizing the power of new media, but it's also really helping you to build your business, teaching you about what works now, what's new, and what's next in the world of new media. Now, I have a couple of people here to talk a little bit about the networking there, but Sarah, I mean, you could talk about the networking at this event. I mean,
Totally changed my career.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, and again, there's no iron curtains here. I mean, all of the icons are right there with you. We do panels, we do small group discussions, we all break bread together, we all hang out together. So it's not like people are coming on stage and then they're going to God knows where. They're all hanging out right there with you. So at the last event, we had a very distinct group of icons, and at this event, we've got another awesome group of 40 icons of influence who will be there. Dennis will be back as well with us, as will Doug Sandler of the Nice Guys on Business, JJ Flassanes from the Bits of Love podcast, Michael Neely from Consciously Speaking, JB Crum from Conscious Millionaire, Tom Singer from The Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do, Justin Shank from the Growth Now Movement. There's my buddy Dennis right there. Mary Goulet, and of course our team from Reinvention Radio will be there as well. And we are all there to find guests just like you to feature on our shows. Now, this actually is a little bit old. We're actually about 65% sold out already because this is not a huge, massive event. We keep it to the 40 icons of influence and 150 attendees because we want to make sure that everyone has ample time to be able to connect with the icons of influence who are there. And you will actually pitch not only the icons that are there, but what we found, and this is different, sir, from the last event, what we found is that the people who are in the audience are pretty amazing in their own right. A lot of them have their own podcasts. A lot of them have their own blogs. A lot of them have their own big social media accounts. A lot of them have their own video channels and so on. So in this case, rather than doing the speed dating thing that we did last time where it's one-on-one and you kind of move from podcaster to podcaster, you're actually going to get the floor and you are going to pitch all 190 people. So my hunch is that people are going to end up with a lot more bookings than even those who did really well at this last one. People like Kristen Maxwell, who didn't think she would get booked on any shows. She got booked on 15 shows. Jeanette Anderson, again, had concerns about getting booked. She got booked on 17 shows. Heidi, her book just came out. She got booked on 20 shows. And then Joy, who before we got to working with her, who really had no clue how to articulate who she is and what she did, by the time we got done with her, and I'm going to show you how we're going to help you with that too, she actually got booked on 33 shows. So I believe that the numbers are actually going to be much higher this time, just because of the way that we're setting this up, so that you have the opportunity to literally pitch everyone that's there. Now, when you come to the summit, and yes, of course, I'm going to invite you to join us, and it's to be expected, right? I mean, I would be doing a disservice to you if I did not invite you to join us at the summit. So if you decide to join us at the summit, I can tell you right now that if you go to newmediasummit.net, if you bring up newmediasummit.net on your phone, you will see the tickets are on sale right now for $2,997. And honestly, it's worth every single dime. And we include meals, and there's a bunch of other things that are included in pre-event training sessions and so on. And we have people who have already bought tickets at full price. It's not going to be $29.97. It will actually be much less than that today. But I want you to understand what the bonuses are that you get when you register to join us. One of the bonuses that you'll get is we will give you the ultimate directory of powerful podcasters, big-time bloggers, and social media stars. Basically, we have done all the work for you by putting together this directory of 240 people who can basically make you famous with the push of a button. And we include their name, their contact information, including their email address, so you can reach out to them. People like Seth Godin and others are all in here. We have done all the work for you, so all of their contact information and details are there. We'll give you a copy of the directory. Number two, if you decide to sit on the other side of the mic, and you decide that you want to create your own show, which I highly encourage you to do, my team will actually build a brand new podcast channel for you. We'll host it on Blueberry, distributed through iTunes and so on. So my team will actually build a podcast channel for you. Number three, you need a Media One sheet. A lot of you have it, some of you don't. If you need a Media One sheet, then my team will do that for you also. So we will give you a free Media One sheet. Number four, there is well, I shouldn't even mention this because I don't want to step on toes over there, but there was another platform called Perfect Podcast Guest. And are you familiar with Perfect Podcast Guest? Have you seen that one? You know, okay. But we will give you a listing, a lifetime listing on Perfect Podcast Guest as well. This is where producers, hosts, and reps turn to find guests. So all in, when you include the ticket to the summit, the directory, the podcast channel, the Media One sheet, and the lifetime listing on Perfect Podcast Guest, it is over $7,400 in real value. So because you are, well, obviously, someone I very much admire and happy to do this and appreciate the opportunity to be here, this is not a deal that you will see anywhere else. Again, if you go online, you will see the tickets are on sale for $29.97. But he asked me to come here. I'm here to serve. This is not literally, and I hate to kind of use these, but literally this goes away when I leave. This is only something I'm doing because I'm here. You guys are here, and I honor you for being here. But you can get in and join us for $9.97. So we'll actually save you $2K off of the price. And if you need a payment plan, you can do 3 payments. So you can do 3 payments of $3.97. But I mean this with all sincerity. You will not get this deal anywhere else. It's because I'm here. It's because you are here. This is not something that I publicly announce. And if you decide to join me and you're one of the first 7 to say yes today, and that's pretty much all of you. I don't have to speak to that, so I'll take that. Thank you. I'll hold on to that. Thank you.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, right? Thank you.
Well done, Karen.
But seriously, all of you, there's no reason at all that you shouldn't come to this event. There's so many reasons for you to be here. And so if all of you said yes, I will actually work with you also and give you a 20-minute session. So we will work together. A 20-minute call with me is honestly like an hour call with anybody else. So I will give you a one-on-one strategy call as well. And then you'll get this because you're obviously one of the first 5, is we're going to put you on Reinvention Radio. So you'll have a guaranteed appearance on Reinvention Radio if you're one of the first 5 to say yes today. So instant visibility. We're here in San Diego. You guys are here in San Diego, so you'll actually be able to join us in studio to do that appearance. So if you're one of the first 5 today, then you'll also be able to get on to Reinvention Radio. So all in, we're talking about over $13,000 in real value. And again, 1 payment of $9.97 or 3 payments of $3.97. Let me give you an order form. Who else would like to join us? Who else wants to? No harm, no foul, no pressure, but I will give it to you. I honestly, I can try to convince you, but I think Sarah, who has been to this event, you could speak to the power of why people should come.
Timing is so perfect.
Awesome. Still have you. Okay. No worries. We should probably talk about sponsorship, actually. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Steve. And anybody who knows me knows that I organize events. I'm an events promoter. I've gone to a lot of events, and I am very honest about, real value. And like I've been telling everybody, attending the New Media Summit just completely changed everything about my career, and I continue to shift every day because of it. But I truly am stepping into being an influencer because of the people that I met at the event. Not only the icons, but the people in the room. That is a really amazing room to be in, and it's like the who's who. And so I also have to say that if anybody, I get inundated with requests to speakers. People want to host workshops through the Conscious Business Chamber of Commerce. I'm sort of done with dealing people who won't invest in something like this, because you get your media sheet made for you. You get to be a real player in this arena. And if people aren't willing to do the training, I can't do it anymore,
Right. That's the other part of this is we do. I know some of you guys are heads down, so let me just go back to it. But we actually do 6. One of the reasons why, any of you guys do live events? Couple. So we had an absolutely unheard of show-up rate for our event. We had a 100% show-up rate for the event, which is, weddings don't have 100% show-up rate. And I think part of the reason why is because we do 6 pre-event training sessions too. And this is an opportunity for me, I lead these training sessions, it's an opportunity for me to help you with various things, but it's also a matter of being able to connect with one another. So that by the time you get to the event, you already feel like you know people. You already feel like you have relationships with people. It's kind of like that no child left behind thing. Like that's my goal, is to get all 150 attendees absolutely clear on what your topic of influence is and how to articulate that, what your pitch is and really how to articulate that and come across in a way that creates intrigue, creating your media one sheet and getting that done, and then making sure that you know how to monetize your visibility, because you will get booked on shows. And I want to make sure that you understand how to take full advantage of that. So
we went to school with Steve before the event, so that when we showed up, we had our pitches ready, our media sheets were ready. Like it was full on. So just incredible value. I hope that everybody goes.
Be here for a few more minutes.
I will be here for a few more minutes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Good. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions? I'm happy to answer just any general questions, and I'm not going to go through the testimonials here, but I do want you to understand that a lot of the people have questions about, why would they want to book you on their shows? Ask Dennis. You can come ask me. But ultimately, I know you're thinking, look, why would they want to book me? They already have amazing connections. Don't they have a long waiting list of guests, and no one knows who I am, and all of these reasons? And I promise you that these are limiting beliefs. I promise you that these things will not hold you back from getting booked. Everyone, it's a fun fact that I like to share, but everyone who attended the New Media Summit got booked on shows. Everyone. And so I promise you.
I got booked on over a dozen.
There you go.
To see.
Yeah.
Good, and it's like good people.
Yeah.
It's not like
awesome.
You don't want to be in it.
So I'll hang around. I'll answer questions.
Fill out the form first.
Yeah, fill out the form. And,
Everybody, let's give Steve Olsher a round
Thank you. Yeah, I'll shred it for sure.
And to wrap it up one more time again, Steve is going to be here for questions, but I want to bring up once again Sarah Ann Dordell just to showcase her.
Yes.
She is the chamber, the Conscious Business Chamber. So everybody, you want to be a part of that, come on up, Sarah Ann Dordell. And Cornelius Simon, he is No Limits Coaching and Consulting. And once again, I'm Tracy Hassey, but go ahead and share.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody on Facebook Live for attending. Again, if you're interested in being an ally for Boost Biz Ed, just go to boostbized.com and you can find a section to apply to be an ally. And if you want to be a speaker, you're locally in San Diego, please join the Conscious Business Chamber of Commerce. You can go to sarahannordell.com and hit the link for the chamber, or just Google the Conscious Business Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
And once again, want to thank Drew Shockley, who is the founder of boostbized.com. I know he's tuned in watching, so thank you.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you. And then
Thanks everyone for coming out today. Again, my name is corneliusspeaks with Buildings Consulting and Coaching. If you need help getting yourself, I'll speak to my video side of what I do. If you need help getting yourself on video, one of the things I like to do is help entrepreneurs and business owners really use video to increase their brand and visibility. So reach out to me here on Facebook. Now, for those who are here today, I would like to ask you all, if you got value out of the day, maybe spend just an extra minute and a half for me to do just a quick video testimony that we can share on BoostBiz and on this on our page here. That way we can kind of generate some buzz about the things that are going on here. So meet me over there just for a minute and a half, just share with you, what you learned today, and I'd love to capture that in videos so we can upload it and get more people to take interest in what we're doing here. Thank you.
awesome. And Cornelius Simon was our speaker 2 weeks ago, so
Yes.
check out that live replay. And once again, I'm Tracy Hassey, and I want to just remind everybody I am hosting a Get Your LinkedIn Done workshop, packed with huge value, super impactful to get your LinkedIn done. So it's Tracy Hassey, TRACIEHASSE. Connect with me on LinkedIn. My phone number is 858-518-8000. Send me a text if you're interested, and get your LinkedIn done. And then the other thing, just a reminder, my gift for everybody is for you to crack your personality code in less than 90 seconds. You want to text the number 72,000. 72000 is the number. The message is access, ACCESS. You will receive a 12-page custom report all about you. Who doesn't like to be learning about themselves? And I will help you. I will go through that with you and show you what a powerful business tool this is for you to give you a competitive edge and unfair advantage out there in the market. So I think that's a wrap, but what we do want to do, if you want to come up and you're present today, come up and share with the world what your one actionable business move is today from being here. Who wants to go first? David Dibble. Who wants to go first? David Dibble. David Dibble. I'm tongue-tied. And he is our next speaker.
He's our speaker next.
Everybody, one actionable item. Share it.
You're going to start Facebook Live.
Well, I think that the one actual item is I'm going to go to this thing.
Yay!
I'm very excited. I haven't been to someone else's seminar or training, and I don't know how long. I'm like only in front of the room, and I'm thinking, oh, this might actually be fun. So I'm excited.
Yay! Karen's there too.
I already gave him my credit card. My name's Karen Sullivan, and it's all about timing sometimes. Sarah, thank you for calling me. It was like, what? Perfect timing. I'm wildly excited.
See what happens when you show up?
Thank you.
Love it.
For playing full out. Here, Joanne, come on up.
So my action item is to actually move my lead magnet to a more prominent place on my homepage. Because right now, there's like a little blurb at the bottom of the page about how they can click and go to another page and get the freebie. So now I'm going, after today's talk, I'm just going to move it up on the top so that people see it right away and subscribe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Sure, why not?
The energy detectives.
Yes. Well, I'm on your podcast next week. That's why I showed up here.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I really have been led to go to this podcast at my work. And so now I'll be here. I'm making sure that I emphasize that energy detective, which is what I do.
Wow.
Thank you. Did we miss anybody? Anybody else? Okay. Well, that is a wrap. Thank you for showing up and playing full out. We appreciate you. Cheers.